everybody. It's Mary Amy from Yard Art or Us.
Can't turn the phone.
Hope you guys had a good evening, good day yesterday. Today's been better for me today than the last couple of days. I don't know about y'all, but do you feel like it's been 5 years just for the first, 8 or 9 days of April? It's been long. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do 2 baseball signs. So we're going to do the first one. This is called "'Tis the Season" baseball. Okay. And then the second one we're going to do is "See You at Home." Now, Ashley and I have been trying to get the videos where they're not so long. So what I did is, in order to finish this, I went ahead, I started base coating white, and you can tell my white is not totally covering. I just have one coat on here right now. And then I went ahead and base coated it, this one with orange. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to base coat this one, a little bit of a white ball, and then I'm going to base coat this orange. The reason I did that is typically oranges are hard to cover, so I started with a white base coat. And when you do that, you're going to have a little bit more forgiveness with that orange paint. If you're going to have trouble with coverage, it's going to be in your oranges, yellows, or reds, usually. So I'm going to do this whole thing in orange with the exception of my baseball. So I'm going to go ahead and just do my baseball right quick. I'm putting that second coat of white on my baseball. There's no use in putting 2 good coats of white on here on the entire sign if I'm going to paint orange, which I know I am, on the whole sign. So there we go. So I'm just putting some paint on here on that white one, okay? That's all I did right there. Now, I'm going to, I think we showed you guys these. I use these a lot. These are just little sandwich bags that you can get anywhere. And inside here is a roller, okay? I have a roller. Looks like this. You can get it in any hardware store you want. I think most of them carry them. But you can tell my handle looks kind of crazy. Alright, so I got an orange. And I'm going to just go ahead and squirt this on here. Like this. I'm going to load. What I'm doing right now is I'm loading my roller. I have a lot of paint on here on purpose. I'm going to do those edges like we've always talked about. I'm going to make all of that orange. I've got some, what I call some trash under here, so I can pull that out. No big deal. So I'm going to base coat everything orange. Then, when that base coat is dry, we're going to color our letters. We're going to put color on the letters is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so I've got all of that, my edges. So I'm kind of just going back and forth, up and down, and back and forth. Like so, like so. Putting quite a bit of paint on here. We won't actually finish this one today, we'll finish the other one. It looks just like it today. But I wanted you to see that I started with a white, and then I put an orange on here. You can start with an orange, it's just going to take you a lot longer to get a good base coat. So I'm going to take my roller up here pretty doggone close, and then what I'll do, once my roller's, I can't get it exactly right, but I'm going to come back with a brush here in just a minute. Alright, so I'm going to put my roller up, and again, these are just, I think these are freezer Ziploc. That's what I got right there. So I'm going to get my mop brush, and here we go. I'm going to put a little bit on here, and I'm just trying to get that orange right up to that baseball or softball, whatever you decide it's going to be. And then once this is all wet, we're going to put it outside and let it dry. But I wanted you to see me base coating the orange on top of the white. So if you're one, because I think we sold quite a few of these, so if you're one of us that's going to come pick these up on Saturday, you know, if you really don't know where to start, you might follow my example. If you have your own ideas and you want to do something totally different, that's awesome too. There's no right or wrong way. So we're going to let my lovely assistant Bruce take this outside for me. Okay. So what I just did is I base coated it, and you can see that I went ahead and also put some polka dots on here, just because I felt like, I'm kind of a polka dot mood, so I think that'll look cute. So at this point, what I'm going to work on, so this is all dry. "Tis" and "thee" I'm going to put in a, almost like a dark blue, almost like a midnight blue. And then I think I'm going to do the word "season" in like a gray color. I'm going to put some color on this. So here I go. Y'all see these 2 little 2-ounce cups that y'all are used to seeing at the shop? I can get this off of here. but I can. So if you have squeeze bottles that you can't get open, and you don't happen to have a whole lot of elbow grease, which sometimes I don't, I take the hammer hold of it. I just tap it little enough to break the seal. Okay? That's all I did. And I'm going to pour some paint in here because I can't get it to come out of this other. Doesn't want to come out of that end. I'll fix that later. Alright. So I'm fixing to load my brush and I'm going to do my lettering tis thee. So this way, and then I'm going to do season, I think, in a gray. The cool thing is if you don't like it, no big deal. You can paint over it. I hope you guys are having a good day. You know what? It just occurred to me I'm not going to be able to see any comments because I didn't start my iPad like I should have. Oh, well, I hope Connie or somebody's watching, or Ashley or somebody can answer questions. So I'm coming down here. I'm using what I call like a dark midnight blue. It's probably one of my favorite colors. We've had it for a long time in the color palette. Probably about 8 years I've had this color. And I use it on a lot of things. I use it on Christmas a lot when I want to do the nighttime look in the background, because to me it's a real pretty dark blue, but it's not black, so it's a totally different look than black. So you can see I'm just coming in here and I'm putting in a lot of paint. My style is to do that, so when my lettering is dry, it's going to look kind of bold, and that's really what I like. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to go over right up to that little groove in the material. Just while I'm thinking about it, we get a lot of questions, and I'm going to answer this today because some of you may still not know. What kind of wood do you use? Boy, if I could answer that question, and what kind of paint do you use? We get that. Those are probably the two most frequently asked questions. So the material we use is a material that you would get from a signboard company. It's called medium density overlay. We call it MDO. The acronym is MDO. It's basically a material that is meant to be outside. So if you're using this material, for example, you buy this one from us, you put it out in your yard, it's going to last a very long time, which is what you want. We are looking at bringing in some door hangers, and if we do that, those are going to be on something called MDF. Not to be confused with MDO, because they are two separate products. But the MDO is what you want for outdoor use. If you use MDF outdoors, particularly in this region, I've heard a lot of people say, well, if I primer it real good, if I seal it real good, it'll last. Well, that didn't happen for me, but if it did happen for you, that's good. I didn't have that much luck. It all fell apart. So, but we can do MDF on indoor projects, or you could do MDF on front door projects where the front door is under a covered porch and it's not getting any direct rain. And you should be okay with that, yes. But the MDO is really meant to be outside, so it's going to hold up for a long time to any kind of weather. We've used MDO, I think, about 8 years, right, Rosemary? Something like that. It's been a while. So I've got the word tis. That's what I'm working on here. And now I'm going to thee. Tis and thee. So what kind of wood do we use? It's called medium density overlay. MDO. You can look it up if you need a more technical explanation. And you can get it from signboard companies. I do not think a Home Depot or a Lowe's is going to carry that as a stock item. I'm not saying you couldn't get them to special order it. They may be willing to do that. But it's not a stock item for them. So, here we go. I'm putting a lot of paint on my words. You kind of messed that up, so I'm going to wipe it off a little bit with my finger. You can tell by looking at me, I'm used to doing that. What kind of paint do we use? We use exterior, latex, house paint. Customers say, can we use acrylic? You can use anything you want, but there's advantages and disadvantages to everything. If you use acrylic and you put it outside and you don't put a good sealer on it, I'm not sure how long it's going to last. Couldn't guarantee, I don't know. I would think if you use acrylic, then you could get away with it maybe for a while if you put a lot of sealer on it outside. But we don't use that, we just use our house paint. And mainly we have to because of the quantities that we're doing. You guys won't be necessarily doing that. So you see, I just dropped off something. So let's say you got a problem right here. I just messed up. It's not that big a deal. Just take your fingers here, and then you can always come back at the end and put a little bit of orange on that if that's what you want to do. Okay. I'm doing V. Putting a lot of coat, a lot of paint on here. Bruce, do you think that the viewers can see the sign as I'm painting it?
Yep.
Okay. Y'all can't see him, but he's behind the camera with my better half. He takes care of me all the time.
Debbie, Jennifer, and Ashley are watching.
Do what?
On the screen, it said Debbie, Jennifer, and Ashley.
Oh, okay, okay. So we've got, gonna put some of this on the letter E. Sometimes it's quite a challenge to try to finish something within the same video, but we want to do that because that way you have just one video to refer to whenever you're getting ready to paint your stuff. So we're working really hard on trying to do that. Ashley taught school for a while, I taught school, so as teachers we're very conscious of trying to make sure our students are successful. Because if you are successful, then we're successful. That's how this works. And if you're not successful, then we're not successful. Ashley and I were having a conversation about a pattern, and I said, hey Ash, the main thing is we want to make sure that our viewers are successful. So that's kind of where we're coming from some of the time. We don't want you guys to go home and be frustrated. That's not the point of this. Not to say you won't be frustrated about a few things here and there. That's part of life. But we don't want you to be really frustrated with what you're doing in terms of this. That's why we like to give a tutorial. There's where I'm at right now. So I've got the word season I need to do. And I think in this case, I'm going to go with the gray. Mainly because the gray is just kind of like a color like white. It does really good against anything else. And right now I've got a lot of darkness going on here. So I'm going to try to lighten it up some. Let's see. It's a brush I'm going to use. This is a Scepter Gold brush. It's kind of a round brush. And notice I'm using this one as opposed to the other one. The other one I used a smaller brush. This one's a bigger brush because I have a bigger area to cover. So a lot of times the brush that you use, the size of the brush depends on the size of the project. Obviously if you've got a little bitty area you're trying to cover, you're going to use a smaller brush than if you have a bigger area. And I like this brush because it's got a really fine hair in there. So it's picking up the paint and it's dragging it really good where I want it to go. Brushes are kind of a double-edged sword. They can be very expensive, and but they can also make a big difference in your project and your stress level. Okay, so I'm doing my S right here. I'm doing my "'Tis the Season." We were working this morning on an affiliate link to get brushes for you guys. I don't think it's working yet, but I promise you the minute it is, we will let everybody know. So here's my gray. And I'm not really kind of feeling it too much, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Bruce to put this on the hair dryer while I'm working on the second sign. And I'm going to come back and put some highlights on this gray. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll probably feel it a little bit more if I do that. It's not bad. Just ain't feeling it all the way yet. And y'all, this morning I woke up and I went to my computer, kind of like I do all the time. And I look at the computer, I turn it on, says it's Thursday. So how did I lose a whole day? I really thought it was Wednesday. Man, I'm not sure where the other day went or how I lost a whole day, but I did. So you can see, notice sometimes I'm making this brush lay down quite a bit because I want a wide stroke. You want a wide stroke, you're going to make that brush lay down by putting some pressure on it. And if you don't, you want a more narrow stroke, you're going to hold the brush up off the board a little bit more. And that way, you get a smaller stroke. So it's all about the pressure that you apply as far as the width of it. Here we go. Just a reminder, if you guys don't mind, when you finish watching, I think it's when you finish watching, if you will hit the SHARE button, make sure you spread the love to everybody. We'll talk one day about why I'm not saying the word SHARE as a word. Alright, so I'm on the end, the letter N over here, getting closer to the end of the word season, right? I've got a lot of paint on here, so I'm happy with that. That part I'm really happy with. And the last thing I'm going to do before I get this under the blow dryer, y'all hear the fan in the background? That's what I call a blow dryer. I'm going to put some red, I'm going to leave this baseball. The other one I'm going to do in yellow, which I do believe is softball, okay? But this one I'm going to put some red stitches on. I'm going to actually leave the ball to be white. The other one we're going to do today, I'm going to do the ball as yellow for softball. Okay, so I've got some red. I'm just going to do some baseball stitches in here. Right now I'm just shaking this paint up because I think it's not really, I think it's separated some. Okay, I've got my script liner here. And sometimes I have a hard time getting red to cover very well. So if you have that problem, that means you're normal. Don't worry about it. You just have to put a lot of strokes on it. Okay? You just have to cover it again and again and again is what I'm saying. So, now I can't lay my hand down because my gray is wet right there, so I'm going to have to kind of anchor my hand this way. And I'm just bringing my stitches towards my body. That's all I'm doing right here. Just a little line, if you will. And that way my baseball comes to life. Okay, so there's my stitch on that one. Now I'm going to go the other way on my baseball stitches this way. It's a little bitty area, so I have a little brush. Now remember, the cool thing about paint is if you mess up, you can wipe it off, let it dry, and paint over it. So let's say you paint this this year a certain color. I kind of went more like the Astros colors. And next year you want it to be a different color. Just paint over it. That's all you have to do. If you decide you don't like those colors, just wait and paint over it, and there you go. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry a little bit. But here's where I'm at. Before we leave today, before we stop filming today, I will come back and do a few more things. Not a whole lot, but I want this to dry. That's where I'm at with just the season. Got a few more things to do on it, but not a whole lot. Okay, we're just going to take that outside for me. Right, the dryer, I'm sorry. All right, so right now I have See You at Home, and I'm going to do this yellow. This down here is my green, and this is white. So because my home plate is going to be white, I'm going to start there. And let me see. So I have a very wet brush because I was working with something white earlier on my brush. So here's my brush. It's pretty wet. So I'm going to just kind of take it with some paper towels and get some of that moisture out of it. I'm going to start here with the white and work towards my body. Now this is already base coated, right? But I'm only base coating the white but I know it's going to show through in this case. I'm not going to base coat the entire sign white because that's kind of a waste of paint and time. Just kind of do the part that I know is going to be white. So I'm going to do that. I've got to kind of pick up that brush to get in that little space right there. And then I have another smaller space. This is where the grass meets the home plate sign. Alright, got too much paint there, so I had to bring it out. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, pull this way, and then I start making longer strokes to try to make that paint go where I want it to go evenly. Okay. And you'll see me go crosswise, you'll see me go back and forth and up and down a lot. All I'm doing is making sure my paint gets good coverage everywhere I go. That's the point I'm trying to do. I don't want something to where it looks like I just forgot to paint something. So I got a lot of I got a lot of paint on there, which is what I wanted. And notice, even with all that paint on there, your words, your etching of your words still shows through, so you haven't lost your pattern. Okay. The machine that does this is called a CNC machine, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Because this way, if you use graphite paper and put your pattern here, you can't ever really put a lot of paint in the very beginning because then you cover everything up. But the thing about the etching is that it really doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to cover it up. I want to do yellow right here because we said we're going to do a yellow softball. Alright, let's see if I can find, did I have a yellow in here? Maybe, yes I did. So I was working on yellow earlier, so I'm going to take all that. I'm just taking my paper towel and getting a lot of water out of there. And I noticed that I just messed this up. So that probably came off of my arm right here. Okay, so I've got my yellow. I'm going to do this yellow. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Doing that. Okay. The only color I'm going to do right now is green, and notice the word home. It got covered up with white paint, and it's going to now get covered up with green paint. And then we're going to decide on what color to make that. Right now, I'm going to get some paint water out of this brush, just like I did on the previous colors. And I'm going to put a lot of green down. Okay? So, I've got my green. Basically, what is this? This is grass. Excuse me, grass. And then I'll show you how to make some brush strokes on it to kind of make it look a little more like grass. Not hard. And I'm going to come up here, the edges of my grass, the tips. I'm going to make sure I get a lot of paint on those. I'm going to make that green come right up here to that yellow. So, go in there. There we go. Painting my edges like we always do. Get some more green paint. Okay. Paint my edges, got a lot of paint on here, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making some longer strokes. I see a part that I missed right here. But I'm going to start making some longer strokes to get this paint very even. And I'm going to come back like this. Just trying to get that paint as even as I can. See something drop in there. Okay. Should put some green in here, huh? Okay. I'm going to do the edges like I always do. Now I gotta kind of come up here into there for my blades of grass. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this brush, and instead of making it lay down like that where I want a wide stroke, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna make this brush just kind of stand up straight. And I'm just kind of, what I would think of is just kind of tipping right in there, very lightly, and bringing it down. It depends on the angle of the brush as far as what I'm doing right now. These are mop brushes that I have that we base coat with. They're pretty cool because they make a lot of paint come out. They'll move a lot of paint around, I guess is the right way to think of that. Okay. So, I am almost finished with the grass here. Try and get it to lay down evenly. Okay. Alright, that's ready to go off to the dryer. I do believe. Oh wait a minute, I see a white edge over here. Do I have any white edges, Bruce? Over here I do?
Yeah.
Okay, just point it out. Over here. Okay. I just kind of look and make sure I got all my edges. Thank you.
No.
Ah,
All right.
all right.
So I'll pass that one.
Now, voila, it's dry. Okay. Hope I had the camera right where you guys see you at home. Okay? So, what I'm going to do, I think I like the idea of see you at in this darker blue. So, just like I did tis thee, I'm going to use this brush. I'm going to put this see you at in darker blue. Right now I'm just loading the brush, trying to get as much paint on there as I can. I'm not real happy with this brush. It's not doing what I want it to do today. Sometimes that happens. I'm going to go to something else. This is kind of an older brush, so chances are I'll like this one more. Kind of like a pair of shoes. You really like them once they're broken in. Okay, so this is a little bit harder to get in here, but it's not that hard. You just kind of take your time. And if you mess up, you'll come back and you get it after it's dry. Sometimes my problem is my eyesight is not as good as it used to be. But that's okay. I'm just dipping in there in paint and getting some more paint on there. Like so. Yeah. So far I'm really liking the blue on the white here. So far I'm good. Now don't feel like you have to do what I'm doing. You can make your own. You can do your own thing, whatever that may be. As far as colors, you can do whatever you like. As far as colors. Okay, I have C, and then I'm going to do the word U. C-U. Come back in here. Over here. Wording takes, or lettering I should say, takes a lot of patience. But when you do it, it does give your project a very, very different feel, I think, other than a project not having any lettering. Now, obviously, we do a lot of stuff that has no lettering, but sometimes I feel like it's got to have that. It just gives you that message. And I know we have a lot of people suffering, I guess is the word. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but from baseball season not being, being canceled. Everything's being canceled. And that really breaks my heart because I know it's a sport, it's an activity that a lot of young people enjoy, a lot of people enjoy. And to not be able to get to do something that is enjoyable is just a bummer. It is just a bummer. So I think right now it's just kind of hard not to sometimes feel that, not to feel like you're bummed, you know. And you know, some people would say, well, in the overall grand scheme of things, the baseball's not that important. It's not about baseball. It's about the fact that you don't get to live your life the way you're used to living. But I think that applies to everybody. I think everybody feels that way right now. Or most of us do, I'm sure. So I have CU and then I've got at. See you at home. And I don't know, I've wondered about the baseball, like the Little League, are they going to just postpone it and let the kids play, you know, a little later, or are they just going to kind of not do anything this year? And how will they make that decision? I don't know. It seems like I have a lot more questions than answers, y'all. Okay, see you at. See you at. Okay? Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the grass. Then we got to let that dry a little bit, and then it's a matter of doing home and outlining this, and I should be good. You got a problem over there? Oh, okay. He was looking at me and I thought, well, maybe we have a problem with it. Okay, so let's do some grass. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a darker green. And y'all have seen Ashley do this a lot on the video as well as me. I'm going to put some water in here. This green is too gummy. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just too thick. So I'm just stirring, stirring, and stirring, and stirring. That's all I'm doing. And I'm doing that so I can make that paint go where I want it to go. Okay, so let me get a shader. That's what I call a shader. Some people call it a flat tip brush. I don't think it matters what you call it. I'm gonna put some green on here, and I always start, if you don't know where to start on the outside, and then you can kind of go from there. There you go. And then I would just do, because it's grass, it doesn't really have a real pattern to it. Anything in nature, you can kind of make up the pattern as you go, and you'll probably be fine. So I'm going to come back up here, like that, down here. I'm doing my blades of grass, and notice when I'm doing this how I have my brush angled. I'm not doing my brush like this. I'm doing my brush where it's like this so I can get that edge. Trying to cover that edge is all I'm doing. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to come up here. All the way to there, to there. Okay? I'm going to bring a little bit more paint in here. So, what I would do is I'd probably do something like this, like that. Just kind of random blades of grass. Here and there, and yonder. I'm going to come down here. Kind of give it a bottom. Here. Alright, so I'm going to get up here by this softball. And I'm just going to kind of come in here. I don't want to cover everything up with the dark green because then it's too dark. But really, I don't need it inside that M, do I? I've got to come back and cover that. Okay, I'm going to come down here. We'll probably put some white on that in a little bit, just to kind of help it out. So I'm going to do my red on my baseball, and then the last thing I'm going to do is my letters on home. So let's go do the red on the stitches on my softball. Keep calling it baseball, softball. So I got my red right here. I'm loading that brush up, and I'm just laying that paint right in there. Right like that. Then I'm gonna come down here. And sometimes red can be temperamental. It doesn't want to cover up real good, so I have to put a lot of paint on that. Okay, so I have those stitches. Y'all can see I have paint on here. That's pretty normal for me. Like so, like that. Okay, now I'm ready to do my letters for home. Probably I'm going to do my letters in gray because I've got a lot of dark here on the background. I'm just going to load that brush up and come in here and outline here. Like so. Okay, H-O-M, and I have E. We're going to do a little bit more to this, and then we'll be done. Not a whole lot more. I think I'm going to shade up there on the home plate a little bit. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my assistant to help me. If you would put this over there in front of that other one, we'll finish this one in a little bit. You know, I have the best looking assistant ever. He doesn't ever want to get in front of the camera. Okay, so he put this over there and I just got a fan going is all I have. I'm going to get the, I'm not feeling the word season that much, so I think it needs some help. So I'm going to help it out a little bit. I'll put some white. And on this, I'm just going to highlight. And notice that white just kind of gives it a little bit extra something. And I think I've got a lot of darkness here, so I'm going to do this. Okay, so I'm going to call this just about done. What I think I like the lettering with the white. So we've got, here's our tis the season. Just to recap, you want a base coat white, everything. When it's done, you want to put a base coat of orange on there. Obviously you have to base coat this part twice, the base layer. Then I just put the dark blue on the letters. I put the dark or the light gray here. And I did some polka dots. You don't necessarily have to do that. I kind of like that though. And then I came back and put some white highlights on everything in my red stitches. Just the season. Okay, my lovely assistant, if you could bring me the other one. Okay. He's all quiet
Still
when the
wet?
camera's going. Y'all, if the camera wasn't going, he'd be talking my ear
You're
off.
wet.
That's okay, I think I can make it work. I'm not gonna put a lot on there.
See you at home.
See you at home. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of white on here, and I think I'm gonna also put some gray. Let me show you what I mean. Let me tell you what I mean by that. That sign has a lot of white on it, and I think it needs some help. Okay, so I'm gonna take the gray. This is the same gray that's on the words. I am just giving it some personality. That's all I'm doing. A little bit of shading, just some personality. Okay. Let's come in here and just do this part right there. Okay. Let's put some white on these letters and some highlight on my softball. I'm going to put just a little bit of white up there, down here, like that, just to give it a little bit of something. And the white I'm doing, I'm just kind of coming along and putting it close or out in the middle, putting it close to the darker lines that I have here or out in the middle of the area, okay? Just to kind of give it something. And like that. And I'm going to do it just like I did it over there. I'm just going to give it some, this has got a lot of paint on it, but that's okay. Y'all get the idea. Okay, see you at home. Just to recap, I base coated the whole sign in white, and then I base coated the green and base coated the yellow. Once that's dry, you're going to come along and do your shading on your green down here at your grass. Put your dark blue on your letters, your gray on your letters, your red on your stitches, and then put a little bit of white highlights. Sounds easy enough. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you help us out by SHARE to all your friends. Ashley will see you sometime tomorrow. She's doing a live on, I'm not sure what it is, but she's doing something. So long for now. Bye-bye.